Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the Money Down Pod. I am Kayvon Zombie. That is Sean White at Dumpster Fire Fan. Follow me at Kayvon_sports. Please give the show a follow at Money Down Pod. And welcome to the Sweet 16 preview of the beautiful, beautiful thing called March Madness that has been absolutely terrific. A 15 seed once again makes it to the Sweet 16. Gonzaga's rolling. Arizona slips by TCU. UNC looks like a team that nobody wants to mess with, and Coach K is still alive. So much to get into here. We are going to upload this right away, so this will come out right here today on Wednesday. Sean's going to get that done. We just did a massive 1 hour show on YouTube. That's going to be broken up, I guess. That's better English to use there. Broken up into different segments. But if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple, whatever, iHeartRadio, you'll just hear that all in one, and you can kind of, fast forward all that stuff. But we hit everything. Every single thing about Deshaun Watson, the Browns, the Falcons, Matt Ryan, the AFC, Tyreek Hill, the Dolphins, Devontae Adams. Every single part of free agency and those big news, we hit it on that show. So get ready. That will come out on Thursday, right, Sean?
Yep, Thursday it'll be uploaded, and maybe some of the YouTube ones will hit Friday. They space out a little bit just because of how much editing I have to do. But the full pod in itself on our iTunes, all the iHeart and everything, that's where you can go to immediately. Thursday it'll be up, and then like I said, sporadically through YouTube, the cut up segments will be up Thursday and Friday going into that.
No doubt. Awesome. So let's get into it. This is our Sweet 16 show here. Sean, let's start with the Thursday games, and then we'll hit the Friday games, kind of just doing it in order, better for the listeners here. The first game up on Thursday is the Arkansas-Gonzaga game. 9.5-point favorites for Gonzaga, which me and you both said right before we went live. Wow, that's a big spread. I know Gonzaga's good. The over-under is 155. 1 seed versus a 4 seed. To me, Sean, this game is so weird. It's so weird. And this is why. You couldn't get two different styles of play here. Like, you have one team in Gonzaga who can absolutely score like no other. Then you have a team in Arkansas who, if they're on, they can score, but usually their offense is pretty terrible and they win by their defense. Do you have any faith in Arkansas being able to score enough here to possibly knock off Gonzaga?
Yeah, I think that's where the rub lies because Arkansas is going to play good enough defense to kind of hold Gonzaga to a little bit less points than they would score. Arkansas plays real defense in the field. And I don't mean the tackle football defense that Baylor was playing against UNC last week. They play real defense without fouling most of the time. So that's kind of what you're looking at there.
How should I not have known? I should have taken the over-under on 3 minutes in. That the under that you would have gotten a nice little shot at the refs there in that game, and rightfully so.
I had my blood boiling on a weekend, but no. So Arkansas is going to have to do everything they can. It's going to come down to if they can score, like Kayvon said.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have the scores, man. I really don't. They have Mute. Is that his name? Mute? Yeah. That. Like just so many players go through, man. But yeah, he's their one guy, and if he gets into foul trouble, then they're out of it. I've seen them play without him a few times.
Yeah,
and they just can't score the ball. They really do struggle to put the ball in the basket without him. He's their guy. He's going to have to come out and really play to his strengths and really create for people while scoring big. I think the spread's a little large. I don't know if I'd put 9.5. I think it's probably a closer game than that because it's going to be an uglier game.
Yes.
The way Arkansas plays. And I would probably bet the under, really, I believe. I think the under is the play here if you're looking at that game itself. But I think Gonzaga is going to win and move on. I think they're too gifted to lose to a team like Arkansas, but I think Arkansas makes it a muddy game and goes after them.
I agree. I think Gonzaga wins. As much as I love Arkansas, this is just a really tough matchup for them. I think the best matchup against Gonzaga is a team like Memphis, which is why I really thought they were going to knock them off, and they almost did. I mean, Timmy just went berserk in the second half for Gonzaga. Played one of the best games I've ever seen him play. I mean, he was shooting the 3-ball, he was doing everything, and he put the team on his back, and they needed that. And I'm going to make this comparison for two teams here. especially for Arizona. But sometimes you see in a tournament where a team wins a game where you kind of look at and say they really shouldn't have won that game, but it's like they have to get through one of those games to eventually win the title. Like Virginia a couple years ago when they went to win the whole thing. They shouldn't have beat Purdue in overtime. They did. And they really shouldn't have beat Auburn in the Final Four. They did. But they shouldn't have, but it just happens, right? And these are two teams where I don't think Gonzaga should have beat Memphis. And I don't think Arizona really should have beat TCU, but they did. They got through. That's what good teams do. And now it feels like maybe they might be able to just kind of coast through from there. Like that's what happens in March Madness. I think Gonzaga gets through. I agree. I think the number's a little too big, but I think they get through. We don't have to run through every single game here, but the other Friday games, look, Michigan, Juwan Howard is doing another phenomenal job with Michigan. They are one of the Big Ten teams that actually really perform in March Madness. I mean, Juwan Howard knows how to coach one and done game-wise, and they've had a great run. I think it ends here, Sean, and this is why. I think Villanova is the best coach team left in the tournament. Like, Jay Wright is phenomenal, man. Like, they have a way they play, and they're never going to let anybody get them out of the way they play. They are always going to be able to play their way. They might not always win. I just think Villanova is so well coached. I think they're such a well-sounded team. I think Villanova gets through. -5 is a lot. I could see this being a 2-3 point game. I could also see Villanova covering, but at the end of the day, I think Villanova wins.
I agree on Villanova winning, and I agree with what you're saying. They're the best coach team in the game. They shoot free throws extremely well. They play situational basketball great. And I had Michigan losing in the first round, so they proved me wrong, but I think this is where their run ends. Again, I'd like the under in this one as well. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game too. But yeah, Villanova moves on that, and we can move on to Texas Tech Duke if you'd like.
This is a massive game here. Texas Tech -1.
Oh, I have to pick them.
Yeah. Okay, yes. I see you pick them at a couple shops as well. So -1, pick them 137. Sean, I have not been high on this Duke team. I'll be honest. I had them losing in the second round to Davidson. Against Michigan, they did something that I have not seen them do in a while now. And that was they were down 5 points with 3:30 to go or something like that. And they didn't panic. And their young guys stepped up. And Roach hit a big shot. If they can continue to show that type of leadership, then maybe they can do something actually in this tournament. I still think that they can't. And I'm taking Texas Tech to win this game. But the one thing that worries me is Texas Tech is going to do so well on defense. But just like Arkansas, sometimes they just don't score enough. I think they'll be able to here, man. But this matchup is fascinating. This is going to be a wild matchup.
Yeah, the scoring for Texas Tech scares me, like you said. And I do believe let's be honest. I do believe the type of defense they play could lead to some foul trouble against a Duke team that I think realistically any 50-50 call is probably going toward Duke in this tournament. Let's be honest.
That's a great point.
So I think the Texas Tech not scoring thing is a little bothersome, but I'm going to be real with you. Duke played offensively their two best games of the year. And I don't know how much they're going to be able to keep that up over the course of the tournament.
Yeah.
I think this is the weekend it ends, but I'm really torn on whether it's Texas Tech or Gonzaga that knocks them out. I know Gonzaga is going to score enough to beat Duke, in my opinion. That's kind of where I'm looking at it with that. But I do think Texas Tech matches up with them well. I think if Texas Tech hits a few shots early, I can see them getting loose and kind of playing well and really putting it to Duke. But if it's a tight game going down the stretch, I'd watch out for some of those 50-50 calls going Duke's way just because of how it's set up. And I'd watch for Texas Tech getting a little tight in the moment because Duke seems to be a little more loose in those moments as well. I think it's going to be a close game, probably the game of the day if you're looking at it for that one too.
No doubt about it. Great point about the fouls. And last thing I'll say here, Texas Tech frustrates the hell out of you offensively. I'm going to be very intrigued to see how some of these young guys like Banchero and these younger guys, Griffin, all that stuff, how they perform with Texas Tech all up in their grill, because it's going to be ugly. They're not going to play well offensively to start. They're going to make them take tough shots. They're going to miss shots. Are they able to shake that off? A team that doesn't have much leadership, they're all young, and really score down the stretch. That's what I want to see from this team. I don't think they're able to do it. I think their leadership has been my issue this whole time. They don't have any, and I think Texas Tech pulls away. But I'm with you. If they do win, I think it ends next game against Gonzaga, most likely.
Yeah, we completely agree on that. We can move to Houston, Arizona, because Houston's the shock of the tournament for me. I had them losing the first round, and I probably should have known better. I kind of went with their 2 players being missing.
Yeah.
Maybe being an upset team, but oh my God, have they done such a good job.
Great coaching job.
Yeah, I mean, what a great coaching job. They play so hard. They play a good brand of basketball, and they're really scary for me as a person that backed Arizona. I think Arizona did have their scare last week, so maybe that kind of put it over, and Ben Mathurin really put them over the top.
He's incredible.
He's
incredible.
Top 5 pick in my opinion.
Yes.
But this game against Houston, I think if Arizona can get past Houston, I think they actually have a better shot of winning it than any other matchup that they have. I think they match up better with about every other team except for Houston, in my opinion. So this is going to be their toughest game to date, in my opinion, on this one.
Yeah, this is a very tough game. The one thing I will say, Houston is very similar to TCU. They're big, they're great at rebounding, and TCU dominated Arizona rebounding. They dominated them. They were able to get by TCU, but now Houston has better athletes than TCU, even with their 2 best players out. I worry about this game too. I do. I always pronounce this guy's name wrong. It's Kriisa. Yeah, I always get his name wrong. He played about as bad of a game you possibly could play against TCU. He went 1 for 7 from behind the 3 and 1 for 7 overall. He shot 8 shots total, 7 shots total. They were all threes. They were all terrible. His ankle clearly was bothering him, and he was the liability on defense too. TCU was attacking him. I really hope that he is better at that game. And if he isn't, I want to see if they actually leave him in the game, because they just rolled with him and it almost cost him. I mean, the guy's an amazing player, but his ankle was messed up and he clearly was not ready to play that game. Ben Mathurin put him on their shoulders. He was awesome. He is my favorite player to watch in this tournament right now. I cannot wait to watch him again. I think Arizona gets by. But I'm scared too, man. As someone that's backed Arizona and have them winning, I am scared of this matchup without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. And moving on to Friday, Providence, Kansas. That's an interesting game right there. Providence was the luckiest team by Ken Palm and all that, and then they still kind of got lucky in the tournament.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what to take about them, because my head would say, hey, Kansas gets them. But, man, Providence has something going on where they just don't die. And no matter what stats you put out there, it goes against them, but they end up winning. So I think this is going to be a very interesting game between a Kansas team. And honestly, I think Bill Self's done a great job this year. I think it's a weaker Kansas team than usual.
I think
and
so too.
You have them in the talk of winning it and getting this far. I think it's been a good job by Bill Self. But I think it's an interesting game against the Friars this week.
This is one of my best bets. Providence +7.
Okay.
I think the line's way too big.
They win.
What?
You think they keep it close, or you think Providence wins?
I think Providence wins.
Oh, wow.
I think it's probably, but I'm not going to bet the money line. I think that I think they cover the 7 without a doubt. This is my thing. At some point, now I'm starting to think, yeah, they were lucky all year, but maybe this is just how it's going to go, man. Like this is. Kansas barely got by Creighton, and that was really disappointing. And Providence beat up on Creighton in league play all year. And I know you can't look at it that way. Kansas didn't play that well and all that stuff. I just think that if Providence hits shots the way they have against South Dakota and Richmond, they're going to be hard to play. I think that Providence is going to beat Kansas. There's something about Kansas that just feels off to me. And I think, like you said, you said it best. Maybe this roster just isn't that good. It just feels weird. I will not be shocked if Kansas wins. So I think Providence will cover for sure. But I think Providence wins this game, man. There's something about this team. I keep saying, I mean, I had them losing to South Dakota State, and then they win. And then Richmond play is hot as ever, and they beat Richmond by like 40 points. Like at some point, I'm just starting to think maybe they're just legit, man. And screw the numbers. They're the outlier, and they're just gonna win.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's up in the air there.
Yeah.
But moving on to my heart versus my bracket, I actually have UCLA in the finals, as we discussed on the last one. But I'm a North Carolina fan. I didn't think UNC was going to make it this far, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think Jaquez possibly being out gives them a shot because he's an important player for UCLA, man. I think this is going to be a real good game between the two of them. I think they match up pretty well.
Yeah.
UCLA's big man's going to go against Baycott pretty well. They're both not that deep either. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. I think UNC had put it on Baylor. That game shouldn't have been that close. To be real, Baylor's football team came out to play at the second half. It was kind of shaky. They kicked out Manic. They had Love foul out. I mean, they're missing two of their best four players. So I think we're going to get a more normal basketball game this week against UCLA, and I think it's going to be a close one. I would like to lean toward UNC, and I don't think that's my heart speaking just because Jaquez is out. But if Jaquez comes back and is closer to what he normally is, I would lean UCLA that way. But I'd stay away from betting this one because I can't go either way, to be honest.
I'll say this. I think this is one of the most fascinating game of the tournament. This is of this weekend, and this is why. I was shocked out of my mind that when that game went to overtime, that UNC won. I thought it's overtime.
Oh, I thought they lost. Yeah.
It should have never gone to overtime. You're right. And this is why. UNC is the least deep team in this tournament. UNC is 5 players and 5 players only. I mean, dude, when Caleb Love got fouled out, the reason Baylor got back into it, other than the fouls, is because they had nobody that could actually bring the ball up the court. They were freaking out on that full court press because Caleb Love is their own. Like, they have nobody on the bench, bro. Like, in UNC, but the thing is, their 5 right now is playing better than any 5 in the country. Like, that's the thing with UNC. They are so hot, but if they get into foul trouble, it's an issue. And that's why Baylor got back in this game, other than the fouls. I'm with you, man. It's so hard to go against UNC right now because of how hot they're playing. I think UCLA is the better coach team. I've expressed that I don't think Hubert is a very good coach. That's just me. I really don't, but that's a whole different story. I think UCLA is a very good coach team, and it's a pick'em, dude. To me, it's a pick'em. I don't think UCLA should be favored by 2. I think it should be a pick'em, and whichever way it goes. The one thing I will say this, UNC likes to go, bro. They like to score. They like to go. UCLA likes to make it ugly. It's going to be interesting to see which style prevails out of those.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that Leaky Black is probably going to cover Juzang. I think that helps out a lot. And you say the best 5, man. Leaky Black on offense is horrifying to watch.
Terrible.
It's 4-5 on offense for UNC.
I can't watch. It's so bad, bro. It's so bad.
I mean, he turned it over like 4 times, just going to the sideline. I'm like, dude, quit going out of bounds. But on defense, he's legit. But yeah, it's 4-on-5 when UNC plays offense. But their 4 is about as good scoring 4 in college right now as you can get between RJ, Love, Baycott, Manic. They hit shot after shot. So that's where it is. It's a toss-up. Like I said, I'll need to see Jaquez play. If Jaquez comes out and plays close to his normal level, I think UCLA has a good shot at him. If not, I think UNC has the edge right there.
Agreed. And one last thing, Manic, if Manic continues to play like he is and hit shots, I don't know if UNC loses. The guy's on fire right now. That's just one other thing. Let's move on to this game. The story of the tournament, St. Peter's against Purdue. I hate to be that guy, but I think it ends here, man. It ends here. Like, they should have never beaten Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky played about as bad of a game other than Oscar Tshiebwe that you could possibly play. And still, it's inexcusable. I mean, it's completely inexcusable. People are pissed off, and they should be. You can't lose to St. Peter's. And then I think that Murray State was sitting there saying, hey, we got this. And look, props to St. Peter's. Purdue has a guy in Jaden Ivey who might be the best player in the country. I mean, he is just a bad boy, a bad man. I think Purdue runs over him.
I think Purdue blows them out as well, and I hate to be that guy as well too. But man, Purdue has had the luckiest draw possible.
Yeah.
Because Purdue, I can tell you this because I watched them a lot. Because one, I like to watch Jaden Ivey, and two, I know they have two big men. And Purdue's always interesting to watch in the regular season, but they're always Purdue in the tournament. I mean, they have the nickname for a reason.
Yeah.
But here's how their draw has worked out for them. If they get a team that is less athletic than them, they'll blow them out every time. But at the minute you match athleticism with Purdue, they start to get real shaky. They start to lose, and anytime you get a tight game like that, but the Peacocks are just not going to be athletic enough to hang with Purdue, and Purdue's going to run all over them. And until someone can match their athleticism, which eventually they'll run into one, Purdue's going to keep winning. And that's just how the luck of the draw ended. So now we just have the one game, right? Iowa State, Miami.
Yeah.
The two no one thought would be there.
Yeah. Miami wins this game by 20.
Yeah.
So Miami is legit. I know people didn't think they were going to be there, including myself. Bro, they remind me of some of those UConn teams that went on and won the whole thing. They have phenomenal guard play. They can hit shots. They can play defense. I think Miami just destroys Iowa State here. Wisconsin is such a fraud team. I'm sorry, but they couldn't hit a shot to save their damn life. The Iowa State, they play good defense. Miami's not going to be phased. Miami made Arkansas look pathetic. I mean, Auburn looked pathetic in the last round. I think Miami wins this game. That is my other best bet. Miami minus 2.5. It's my favorite play of the day.
Yeah, Miami by 10 plus, in my opinion. They're going to easily win this one. Watching Wisconsin and Iowa State almost put me to sleep, no lie. Yeah. I mean, it was Iowa State versus Johnny Davis, essentially, and he couldn't carry them. And it's pathetic scoring. They're not going to be able to score enough on Miami, and Miami's just going to get on transition and dominate them, in my opinion. It's going to be – Miami's going to make the Elite Eight. They got a shot at the Final Four off that side, to be honest. They do.
They really do. They really do. And then anything can happen. It's just incredible what's going on and what Jim Larrañaga is doing with that program this year. So that's our Sweet 16 talk there. Some very fascinating games. Hope you guys enjoyed that as much as we've enjoyed it. We'll see what happens from here. Follow us down at Money Down Pod. Let us know your thoughts. Who do you have winning these games? Who is your Final Four picks, and who do you have winning it all? As of now, I am still sticking with Arizona. What about yourself?
I'm sticking with Arizona as well. I think Arizona makes it. And I think if UCLA gets past UNC, I think they still have a good shot too. It's just going to depend on that Hawkeyes injury.
Yep, no doubt about it. Give us a like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And we will, again, look out for the free agency episode coming out tomorrow as well. Have a good one.